What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video this Monday afternoon. Want to get into a Jets competition. Now, we've spent a lot of time talking about who's going to be this team's wide receiver 2. How about who's going to play next to Quinnen Williams? What's the safety room going to look like? But something else that we have a legitimate competition for, I feel like is kind of flied under the radar to an extent for Jet fans, and that's the kicking competition. And I get it. Special teams isn't as sexy as what the wide receiver 2 or, some of these other things. And I get that. I totally understand. But as we saw a year ago, having a good kicker versus having a bad kicker can cost you some games. The Jets recently cut veteran kicker Greg Zorn after a disaster of a 2022 season. He was spectacular in 2023, could not have been any better, and then just completely fell off a cliff. Of 36 qualified kickers last year, so 36 kickers in the NFL, Greg Zorn had the lowest field goal percentage of any kicker in the league at just 60%. That is abysmal, absolutely abysmal from Greg Zorn. It wasn't just the field goals. He had some extra point issues, and really it began to fall off the rails. And I thought this quote from Chris Banjo really stuck out to me, Jet special teams coach. When asked what he's looking for at the position, he said, "I would just say consistency. That's the biggest thing, consistency and how guys respond to tough situations or situations that may not have went their way." Every single kicker in the NFL is going to miss kicks. It happens. Unfortunately, it just does. No, it's very rare to see someone go 100%. That's the life of an NFL kicker, and when it goes, it goes. But something that he brought up in this quote was how they respond to tough situations. And unfortunately, with Zorn last year, I thought he responded about as poorly as you could have possibly seen. It started, to me, the beginning of the end started in week 4 against Denver. He had an opportunity for a game-winning kick, and it was by no stretch of the imagination an easy kick to make. It was, unfortunately, I was at that game. It was rainy, the weather was miserable, and he was set up for a 50-yard game-winning field goal, and he missed it. Did I want him to hit it so the Jets could win? Of course, yes, obviously. But how he responded from that, you think, okay, he was great last year, come back and just get in a groove. That never happened. Missed kicks against Buffalo really cost them as well. There were a few times where in games last year, missed kicks and extra points really hurt the Jets in their chances of winning games. And I don't think he did a good job of responding in those tough situations. And I'm interested to see how they evaluate that for the two guys that they have on their roster right now, in Anders Carlson and Kaden Davis in the competition spot. So a little bit on each. Carlson kicked in 5 games for the Jets last year. He hit 8 of 10 field goals, was perfect from under 40 yards. So that's a plus. 3 for 5 on 40 to 49 yard kicks, and then 1 for 1 on 50 plus kicks. Honestly, pretty solid. Carlson did miss 2 of his 10 extra point attempts, though, which is obviously not great. You don't want to see missed extra points. Those, you got to capitalize on that and hit those. But he is definitely, has the veteran experience to an extent, especially when compared to someone like Kaden Davis, who we'll get to in a second. But he has that NFL experience where someone like Kaden Davis doesn't. He's a UDFA, so he kicked in college last year. He was at Ole Miss. He had 82.8% of his field goals. He hit the most amount of field goals in the NCAA a year ago. 2 for 4 on 50-plus yarders, 8 of 9 in 40 to 49-yard range, and he made 57 of 59 extra point attempts. So by all accounts, it was a strong season for Kaden Davis. So far, I feel like Carlson's been the name that they've talked about more, and he's had the better start. Again, it's only minicamp and OTAs, so we'll see what happens in training camp. But it hasn't been a strong enough start where the Jets aren't seeing any other options. The Jets have tried out a few different kickers over the last week or so. Rodrigo Blankenship, former NFL draft pick, kick for the Indianapolis Colts, turned UFL kicker. He got a tryout. Harrison Melvin from the UFL also got a tryout, and so did Michael Badgley, who kicked a little bit for Detroit over the last couple of years. It's going to be interesting to see what Chris Banjo does. To me, there is no definitive answer. Looking at really any of the 5 names that I just brought up, the 2 that's on the roster and the 3 guys that tried out, I guess Carlson probably has the leg up, but it's not like he was perfect for the Jets a year ago. So my thought process here is they have to do what they didn't do a year ago. Unfortunately, during the preseason, it looked like Greg Zuerlein was not the best kicker on the team. It was actually Austin Seibert who ended up getting signed by the Washington Commanders. He hit 90% of the field goals that he kicked a year ago, 91.7%, 22 of 24 on extra points. The only misses he had were from 50 plus yards. He was automatic from under 50 yards. And it would have been a tough call, right? Zuerlein was coming off a monster year in 2023. But he didn't have a great camp. And unfortunately, Seibert looked like the better kicker. They let him leave. He signs on in Washington and has a good year for them. It is great. Again, like I said, automatic from under 50 yards, and then was 2 of 5 from 50 plus. I'm wondering what consistency means for Banjo. Everyone has a different definition of consistency, but to me, I associate that with accuracy more so than leg distance. And I think with Zuerlein, for most of his career, he's had a big leg, but the accuracy's been inconsistent. It clicked in 2023. It was like the seas parted and he was amazing, spectacular, had a career year. I think they're going to go for the guy, maybe, from 50 plus isn't as, or doesn't have as big of a leg where you're like, all right, let's trot him out there and try the 60-yarder or whatever, but is pretty much automatic with the kicks that should be made. And again, unfortunately, like, people are going to miss kicks. It happens. But another quote from that Banjo line that I just shared, when things go well, how do you respond in a tough situation? Do you fold, like what unfortunately happened with Greg the Leg last year? Or do you shake off the missed kick, go out there and hit the next one? And that's who the Jets got to find. And I don't have the answer for you. I don't know if it's going to be Andres Carlson or Kaden Davis or someone else on this, someone else that they either tried out or haven't tried out yet. But that's what I'm hoping the Jets do this summer to find the long-term answer here. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.